Hi there. So it is, oh, what is it? Ha ha ha. Tuesday. The, I don't know what date it is. It's Tuesday in August 2022. I didn't look it up. Thought I'd remember. Anyway, that has nothing to do with having CAA. I just a little while ago got home with Mike, my awesome husband, from my second appointment with my neurovascular specialist, Dr. Jacqueline Birch at U of R. Who's just amazing. And something I have learned, and I don't know if this is everybody, but when you get to like this level of like subspecialists, so um, neurovascular, not just neurologist, they will spend a lot of time with you. She does, and it's fantastic. She has been really walking us through the details of all of this with much more depth. It's easy to sit and have like kind of a long talk, asking a lot of questions. Um, she's just seems to really like to, answer and go into detail. And she's the one that really walked through all the scans that we originally had for the first time, like in depth, and talked through a lot of that and what we were seeing. And we knew some of it, but she went a lot farther, so that's great. And just like with the first visit, we had all kinds of questions prepared that had come up since the last time, which was just over a month ago. First time I actually, met her. Um, and some of what had happened in between was I had a different type of MRI than the one I originally had in April that established my diagnosis in the first place. And it was more sort of a different look at the vasculature in my brain. And they were trying to rule out something just to be sure, because CAA is actually kind of tricky to diagnose. And that was like, look, my veins, in terms of their form, looked great, beautiful. They said it had beautiful capillaries, so that's always nice to know. And they just unfortunately have these amyloid deposits built up in them. Yay! So that was part of it. There was also this really interesting part of the process where, so Dr. Birch is part of a larger sort of conference group of vascular neurologists and radiologists, I found out today, and maybe a couple other types of specialists that will confer about certain cases, sort of on a schedule. And I knew a couple weeks ago that I had been one of the cases that they all discussed. And that's kind of really, really, really cool to have several very highly specialized, really good doctors kind of discussing everything. I don't know if I mentioned that the first video, but anyway, today she confirmed a lot of what she had told me on the phone, and we asked some more questions, and then kind of like, where do we go from here? So I have been referred to a couple kind of really cool things happening. I've been referred to a neuro rehab type of a thing, which because of my age, versus being much older, there might be some, advantage where my neuroplasticity, the ability of my neurons and brain cells to kind of keep making changes, and adapt, even maybe despite the damage that's being done by the CAA, might be something that we can take advantage of. And there's a lot of cognitive testing that happens before that, and like a long, some like 3-hour thing, which makes me feel like I'm just going to want to collapse in a bed. But it'll be interesting. And then from there, uh, I will do whatever they think on a regular basis will help, maybe. So that's cool. Hopefully that all happens soon. And the other thing is, so like any disease, especially I think rarer ones, or maybe emerging, where there's an emerging science around it. There are sort of sub specialists. There are people who really kind of home in and focus on this, maybe obscure thing. And so, thanks to a new friend of mine who I met on social media, who's a really great guy named Mark, he helped me get in touch with the apparently like the big guy for CAA, who is Dr. Steven Greenberg at Mass General. He's also a Harvard professor, and he is kind of a leading researcher and practitioner in this field, like even on an international scale, and also was, I think, in charge of developing the diagnostic criteria in the first place, and then the Boston criteria for CAA diagnosis 2.0, which came out maybe 3 weeks ago. Great timing for me. One of the things that they updated in their criteria guidelines is, it used to be that generally they only considered this diagnosis for people 55 and up, and that has been lowered to the lower age threshold is now at 50. Kind of not really surprising, and the diagnostic criteria had not been updated for 12 years, and they have made a lot of inroads since then regarding the technology with MRI and imaging. That's the word. Blank. They've made updates with imaging, right? And now they can see better what's going on, right, in people's brains, a lot more detail. And they figured that they found more people who are a little younger with these microbleeds and so forth that they found. So, Dr. Steven Greenberg, thank you again to my friend Mark. I was in touch with their office, and today was kind of the last step. They're like, yeah, we can see you. That'd be cool. I told them I want to do clinical trials. Clinical trials. This would be research based. So they're going to learn a lot from me, and therefore I learned maybe more about my own physiology and condition, not necessarily anything related to treatments that are evolving, because that's in very early stages. It's not treatable right now. And so any potential trials regarding treatment would be few and far between, I think, until they know more. And they would be early stage, which are less promising. And of course, I would do that too. But in any case, the last thing Dr. Greenberg's office needs is a referral from my doctor here, Dr. Birch. And we talked about that today. She thought that was great. She's getting that done. And so by the end of this week, I should have an appointment with Dr. Greenberg in Boston at some time between now and hopefully November. and I will get to see my brother and his family and stay with them in Boston. And that's pretty cool. I am not looking forward to being on a plane with the noise and the crowds and the lugging of things. I think that will be hard, but it will be a short flight, and we'll just see how that all goes. And I will be in great hands when I'm there. So, more on that to come. Really excited about that. Um, I'm also going to talk to them about donating my brain to science. Uh, and I know there are people who feel weird about doing that, and I understand that. I can't wait. I mean, obviously I can wait. Like I would like to wait a long time, but I want to get it established. And I really like the idea that there's something I could contribute in that way to help science, to help doctors, and to help future patients. So that's all good. Um, I I'm less tired than I was on Sunday, which is nice. Uh, Mornings tend to be better anyway, and so that's good. I did, however, yes, I said I was going to tell like whatever I was going on, so I will. I uh, did a silly thing, made a mistake, error in judgment, or maybe it was just not a great risk. So I'm on a lot of medicine. I am on 4 blood pressure medications now. When I got sick in April, we discovered my blood pressure was crazy all over the place. Uh, and that is the worst risk factor for CAA. I'd say the worst controllable risk factor. So, what's going on is there are amyloid proteins, and I just learned this detail, kind of the nuts and bolts of it. Amyloid proteins that are actually created in everyone's brain, and they are like, I heard them called junk proteins. Not sure what that means. But in any case, they are supposed to just be kind of flushed out. Like they're created and they're flushed out. I don't know more than that. And in cases like CAA with the vessels, or Alzheimer's with the tissue, also amyloid deposits are the culprit. They're pretty sure they do not get flushed out, or not all of them. And so that's what's up there. So they weaken the capillary walls by building up in there, and they eventually replace the cells that are supposed to be lining the capillary walls. And then you get these little breakages, and then you get potentially big breakages. That's, of course, the one of the biggest risks. High blood pressure is a very big deal. Anyway, so we got that under control. Fortunately, I am on 4 medications. I thought, okay, I've got this fatigue. I really would like to think that there's some way to make it a little better. One of the medications I had been on before for another reason. It just also happened to help blood pressure, and it was a very small dose. And I thought, well, maybe the other 3 we added that really seem to do the trick are what are important. Maybe I don't really need the first one. And on my own, I stopped taking that, and had not a great few days, and I didn't you don't know for sure. It's a correlation. Maybe it's caused by that. And I concluded that most likely that was the problem. And when I started taking it again a couple of days ago, I already feel a little better. So that's a lesson. I guess I'm not gonna beat myself up because it's all kind of so many details, and you gotta try. Um, Now I just wouldn't try something like that again, at least not without more consultation. So let that be a lesson to you. Don't do that kind of thing without talking to your doctor, and everyone knows that. But anyway, oh, so this is a lot of medical stuff today. Last thing I will say, unless I think of something else, is I'm really looking forward to my sister and her 3 kids showing up the end of this week from Germany, and I haven't seen them in 3 years. We had vacation together before the pandemic, and of course, then we know what happened. And so they're coming um, to see me and my family and stay for a couple weeks, and that's going to be so awesome to spend time with them. And I have had so many other thoughts since the video on Sunday that started everything about what else I want to talk about. I think maybe it's kind of cool to get nuts and bolts out of the way now, and I'll get to go in other directions as things go in the future. Thanks again for being here, everybody. I got so many amazing responses from the first video. Such a weird thing to say. I feel like I've watched people say that on YouTube and whatever. But for real, like, it's pretty incredible. And part of what I wanted to do was like just stay connected. And being in my house most of the time makes that pretty hard. And I just I am I am in awe of how blessed I am to have this incredible circle and community of amazing people. So many amazing people. And uh, all of you I just cannot thank you enough. And I love you. And I'll be back soon. Please be good to yourselves.